or biological issues. And this guy said this. At the beginning, I thought it was really, really funny. And then a day later, I was like, he's probably right. And it probably, people might not think of this, and it leads to like escalating issues. And he said this. He said, yo, in high school, and he's an American, Black American. And he said, yo, in high school, middle school, public school, the quote unquote normal kids, whatever, the ones that have some type of mental handicap, right, learning handicap, let's just say learning handicap, they're separated from the general student body. And he goes, so we know, we know, because we'll only see them at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. And he says, when you get out into the real world, you now have no idea who was in those mentally learning handicap classes. So you could be interacting with somebody that was attending. And I laughed at that. But the next day I was like, you know what? Is that, now bringing it back to you, do you feel like maybe that, obviously we don't have any math or data to back this up, but do you feel like maybe people don't take that in consideration? Like, hey, bro, this person probably was in I don't, because there's accelerated math and then there's de-accelerated math. This person was in a great, they were the same age as you, but they were 3 years held back, and you're picking a fight with them, but they didn't know what 2 + 2 was at 17.
No, I don't necessarily think about that. I will tell you one thing. When I was working in that field, just like you said, they designate certain people as, okay, special needs. Let's just say that's what they call it, right? They designate some people as special needs, right? And then when I was working in that field, I realized they're a lot more normal than what people think, right? But then when I got onto the outside, after leaving them, I was like, there's a lot more people that are actually crazier than them, but they're walking around here, they're doing everything, and it just kind of it gave me a different perspective, because I was like, man, they're a lot more sane than people that we know, just
you know what's funny, guys? This is a year after high school. So me and Max are the same age. A year after high school, Max has told me oh, this is the kind of job that I do, as a caretaker, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right? And he said, and I was like, what's that like? And he goes, bro, a couple of brothers that we know, they need a staff. And I was like,
they do.
I was like, whoa! I didn't know if he was just joking, but now I'm just hearing this years later, and I was like, who's that? And you're like, bro, don't worry, or they'll expose themselves later on. So you feel like there was a lot of undiagnosed mental issues?
Honestly, I started looking at everybody pretty much the same, because I'm like, some people are just diagnosed with something, some are just not diagnosed with something. And if you look at Black healthcare, we don't get the healthcare that we necessarily might need. So I definitely think in the Black community, there's a lot more cases of undiagnosed other mental illnesses, or just even trauma. Trauma alone is an illness, right? So
let's stick to go back to the main crashing out. You talked about deportation. We've covered the people going to prison. Let's talk about the other result of crashing out that people don't often talk about. Workplace. A lot of us have jobs, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Some of us work corporate. Some of us work trades. Some of us work production. Some of us work in the healthcare system. What are some of the results that can happen if you crash out at work? Besides getting fired, right? Besides getting terminated from your job, what are that you could think of can now be a long-term effect of you acting or how going out of character, right, at your job place?
I just think if you crash out at your workplace, don't expect to get another job. Really. Bad news travels fast. You'd be surprised how many people, I don't know, I just feel like there's this thing that if you beat up or try to fight your boss at work, I have this thing where I feel like they put some kind of note by your name on everything, like, yo, this guy is volatile.
I thought there was gonna be some type of buildup or something.
This is really good that you said that.
Yeah.
So NBC, another news media competing with Kush News, they put out just like a 6 to 8 minute this program about how there's now software
Mm-hmm.
that anytime like a employee leaves, the employer can write a review on that employee and then send it off to other employers in that same field. So you're a nurse, right? Nurse practitioner. You leave a hospital or a clinic. That specific clinic can write a review on how you were and send it to other clinics and hospitals around the area. So if you were that bad of an employee and try to get another job at the next hospital or clinic, that's really interesting that you said that, because yeah, that does exist now.
Well, I think it's, when you put it that way, in the nursing field and the medical field, I think it's a must. I need to know if that person was released for
This and that and that and this.
Yeah, for whatever.
Yeah,
whatever
choking out a patient or trying to fight the doctor.
Neglecting a patient, any one of those things. So I was watching, I think it's a movie or a series on Netflix. I think it's called The Nurse or something like that. I'm not sure, but it's about a nurse that like was going from hospital to hospital and putting in like the saline bags of the IVs. He would put in some kind of chemical substance that would end up killing.
So malpractice.
No, like homicide. Yeah, homicide for sure.
Whoa.
So this person would do this from hospital to hospital to hospital, but they kept getting hired, and there was no system to say like, hey, X block this guy, like he's on a white list. Let's call it that, right?
Like that.
He's on a white list. So I think it's important, man. If you're I believe just like buying guns, like I'm all for people protecting themselves. I am. And I'm not trying to do no political. I'm not aligned to any party. I'm a non-aligned guy, right? In fact, I represent another country, so like I have nothing to do with any of those parties. But I think you can't just give anybody a gun, And I wish in our countries, I mean, Kenya's okay. You guys don't really have guns like that, It's not a thing. But I think a lot of people need to get there. But that's a larger conversation.
Yeah. That's another day, because at one point, pre-colonial Africa, it was unwise of you to not have a spear in your home. So, and that's another day. So basically, what you're saying is like, hey, crashing out at work can also lead to severe and long-term consequences.
It's a very irresponsible decision. It's very irresponsible. I'm not telling people not to quit to do whatever their job, but it's how you do things.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a way.
Anytime you leave in a rage, anytime you're acting in a rage,
just know
it's never a good decision.
Like you said, word travels fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That I can't think if it was. I don't think it was a series, but I think it was just one thing that I saw on NBC, and it was like, yeah, there's a software out there now that.
There's software for everything.
It's
just no.
AI is out there now, huh?
Just no.
ChatGPT 4 now is out. Where do you think? Well, you touched on it earlier. Pause, and you said, hey, just talk to somebody if you're going through something. What are some other ways that somebody can avoid crashing out?
Well, I say crashing out is a symptom of poverty, right? Survival mode.
Yeah.
Right? You don't see people that are getting money.
Yeah, that are wealthy.
That are wealthy crashing out.
No.
You never see that, do you? Because you're going to feel, Nip has this one line. He says, get you some money, you're going to feel different.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So too much I'm dashing. Are you feeling my singing? High whatever you're thinking. Can't you see what I'm feeling? Legas to Dubai.
So get you money, be successful. That's why I said travel. Travel is synonymous with being able to be in a position to,
see different viewpoints.
Let me give you an example. If I had, let's just say I had Like the young kids say, I had some ops, right? Let's say I had some ops.
Yeah, you had an opposition.
Yeah. For a group of them, right?
Yeah.
I would just be like, really, I would just be traveling. Like, I don't have to be around them. You know, the thing about when you have ops,
it's just in that.
Yeah, and it's just in that location where they can only afford to go out a lot of the times. Right?
Iconic views while having dinner. Also, what about the water out here, though?
It is crystal blue. You can go on an amazing boat, have views of the rocks, go snorkeling. It's warm, and I agree. Look at these views. These views are literally everywhere. I can't believe we're only 2 hours away from LA.
Literally 2 hours away. But what we're gonna show you in this video is like what you need to know, right? How to stay safe, best activities, and if you have $100 a night budget, you know how to rock out.
I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, they're
people
never...
aren't getting onto planes and having shootouts with other people in other cities.
Yeah.
Like that's not how things happen.
No,
because you're limited based on the level of scarcity that you're probably in. You know, and it's not a rich poor thing because rich people have issues too. They have ops too, but their ops, they can always work together because it's about money usually. You know, so that's why I say like
it always leads back to the money.
It always leads back to the money. When we got something to work on together, why would we kill each other? We can make money together. You know.
What you're saying is
just
one way.
Get out. Just please focus on building yourself.
Yeah, grind.
Focus on building your brand. Grind. If you're grinding hard enough, you wouldn't even worry about crashing out. Crashing out would be the last. You're crashing out from being tired. You know.
Burnout.
You're burning out. You are. And then you take a nice vacation and you come back and you do it again. If you maintain that pattern of behavior and consistency, what time will you have to go crash out with anybody?
You're too exhausted and too busy.
So that's the key. You know, stay busy and you don't have to ever worry about that.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Have you know, before we, you know, because you're a busy guy, we don't want to get you burnt out.
No, I'm good, man. You know, I got a vacation coming up. Yeah.
Have you done any of these things in your personal life?
Of course.
Yeah. Can you name like a? I mean, you don't have to.
Wait, are you DJ Vlad?
You don't have to name a time, place.
Well,
but like
I'll tell you.
People want to be able to relate to you.
I jaywalked across Dodge Street. No, I'm a law-abiding citizen, man. I don't crash out.
So even when you were younger, though, like let's say when you were a teenager, you know, we both grew up in the States.
You know, I was quick. You know, we talked about a situation where escalating. If anybody if any situation happened, I was always the guy to escalate stuff. You know.
Oh, really?
I believe in being proactive. So, so if someone's being aggressive with me, I'm gonna be more aggressive.
Aggressive, yeah.
But I also, you know, as I'm thankful enough that, you know, God is always protecting me, giving me grace to never be in a situation where I can't get out of yet, you know, and I don't plan on it happening, you know. And that's another thing. If you're above like, let's just say 27, let's just say, I'm gonna be conservative. If you're above 27, you shouldn't even be talking about crashing out. Like that shouldn't even be a conversation. That's something for, I think, Gen Zs can talk about that. I can't even blame them for it. If they crash out, half the time because there's no guidance, right? So I can't blame them. But if you, especially if you're in your 30s and you crashing out,
pathetic.
I don't even know what to tell you. There's no amount of help that you can be like. I don't know what to tell you. You know. Also, I want to add this because I think it's important. You know, I think I always say like the young kid, the Gen Zs, they crashing out seems so cool, right? But look at their favorite rappers, man. That Rico is a real thing, you know. Crashing out's all cool until Big Homie gets jammed up, and then now everybody, you know, like now everything now, you know. Look at YSL, right?
I usually try to stay away from my personal, but I have a personal testimony for this.
Yeah.
You know, there was a time where.
So you crash out king, huh? You trying to get me caught up? Look at you.
There was a time where, just like anybody else, they love social media. I use social media to a fault.
Oh man, God, I think I know where you're going.
Let's just say that without getting into too specifics.
Yeah.
And bro, it really hindered, you know, relationships, right? Not necessarily me, but like people that would be associated with me. Bro, imagine they would have to like now feel that they would have to be accountable to say like or speak on my behalf. That hurt the most for me because I've never opened up about this. Is like
this is the first time I'm hearing about this. I didn't even know about this.
Yeah, like
oh shoot.
It
Hold on now.
That, you know, like a joke here, joke there, right? And again, I'm not telling anybody how to use social media. Do what you want. I don't care. I'm saying for me personally, like, you know, I use social media to a point where I would have been considered a crash out. And what hurt me the most is when I would get reports or when I would see it in some of my guys' faces, like, yo, man, like, this person is asking why I'm.
What's up with your boy, man? Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know.
That would hurt me because I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
There's nothing that he still has to live his life. So I can't be with him when he's having these conversations.
Yeah.
They're probably pulling him aside.
Yeah, that's the worst. When you get pulled aside at like a nice lunch or like, you know, a Rock Nation brunch or something.
And,
pause, actually.
You know, like, hey, what's up with Ochanda?
Yeah.
Like, so,
yeah.
You know, again, do what you want on social media, but also know that crash out doesn't only happen in the physical world. It can happen in the digital and meta world. Like the social media guys, I want you guys to know that just like on how like a